I did not have a Tiny Tuesday tutorial for you, and there's a couple reasons for that. One being my studio. The other is that because of all of my health problems, I've had so many tests. I've had an MRI of my spine, an MRI of my brain, an MRI of my shoulder, a 2D echo of my heart, multiple doctor appointments, finding a new doctor, and postponing surgeries. And so I will explain all of that to you real quick for those of you who want to listen, and then I'm going to get on to show you this thing that I got, this little gadget that I think could be a game changer for me when I'm painting with gouache out in the field, or even here in my house when I'm running back and forth and deciding to paint here. But I had to have a brain MRI because of what I thought are memory issues, and my memory was a little borderline on my test at my neurologist office. So they did an MRI, and I do have age-related changes up in my ventricles. The ventricles are in the center of the brain. The gray matter surrounding that is ischemic or dying off, and that is due to vascular changes in the brain. And when it dies off, then those brain cells go and you lose part of your memory. So I am getting a little bit of memory loss. I had the MRI because my mother died from Alzheimer's disease. And I am much like my mother, very much like my mother. The MRI on my shoulder was, if you remember, I had a reverse shoulder replacement last February 19th, 2025. In September or October of this last fall, 2025, I was on my bicycle, standing on my bicycle, just getting ready to take off, and accidentally hit the throttle where my bike took off without me. My feet were still on the ground, and it yanked my handlebar on my new shoulder, yanked it, and my instinct to not fall over was to hang on, and it just jarred my shoulder really bad. So I've had an MRI on that to see if there's a problem that needs to be fixed. The back MRI, I've got a herniated disc above my surgical level that is going up the center of the spinal canal, which is very rare. Usually they bulge out the side. This one's going up the center, so it's causing me extreme pain from my spinal cord and going every which way. So that's a problem. The 2D echo is my biggest problem. I found out I have congestive heart failure. I have a congenital heart defect, as many of you know. It's called a bicuspid aortic valve. It's pretty common. About 1% of the population has it. At least 2 to 3 times more men than women. So I am a very rare subject, of course. But my aortic valve area has been closing off, and it's down to 1 centimeter. I should be at around 3 to 4. My left ventricle is stiffening up. My ejection fraction, or the amount of blood being pushed out by my heart, is dropping below normal. I'm getting shortness of breath when I lay down, shortness of breath with exertion, sometimes shortness of breath sitting still, and it's not good. So I've got to go back to my cardiologist, see what my doctors want to do. They'll probably want to start me on medication, and it could be that I'll need open heart surgery. I'm not sure when, if that will happen right away, or if we'll try to reverse it. I think if I lose more weight, that will help as well. So that is all done. But that's where I've been for the last 2 weeks, is going to all of these things. And I still have more appointments to go to. See my back surgeon this week. I have 2 appointments next Tuesday. I mean, it's just one thing after another after another. So now what I want to show you that I got. It seems like I'm still high here. Let's see if I can go down a little more. There we go. That's where I need to be. I will show you what I got. Now, many of you may have seen these online. I have not. I just saw one person with it. It was an advertisement for the company, I believe, for Himi Gouache. And you all know about these Himi Gouache palettes. This one's very old. I only have the 24 colors, which is like way plenty for me. I think 12 would be plenty. 6 is plenty. But I had this one. And I've struggled, as you know, with my gouache palettes out in the field. They get kind of dry over time and stuff like that. And they can be harder to work with, especially if you're one that likes to use gouache like gouache and not like watercolor. When I'm in the field, I've been having to use it a little more like watercolor because of the dryness of the palette. And I do like this palette. This is one of the Art Toolkit palettes. You're all familiar with that. And I do like this palette. Right now it's dry because I haven't been using it. But all it takes is some water. It's a mess. All it takes is some water and all of this softens up again and I can use it again. But it's usually the surface. So you have to keep rewetting. And sometimes I'm too impatient for that. So, oops, I'm dropping it. I got this little thing. You say, what is this, Sharon? Well, this is by Himi Gouache, and it's a portable travel palette. It's even got a little handle you can carry with. I'm afraid to tip it up like that. I've been using this, so I'm not doing a first time opening. I'm going to tell you what I think about this little gadget. I'm pretty happy with it, actually. And in it come three little things. There's the mixing tray. We've got a water cup. And then you've got your palette. So it's very well sealed, very well sealed. And it opens like this. There we go. Opens like that. And I just took 6 of my colors out of my other Himi Gouache palette. You can use twin trays, which would give you 12 colors. But the colors I chose were this red, which is probably a primary red, a little bit on the cooler side, not much. White and black, red, yellow, which is more like a lemony yellow, not quite primary, but pretty close. Something that Viridian green, very close to phthalo green, and then Prussian blue, which are colors that I use all the time. So I put them in here. My Himi Gouache was pretty much dried up, and I took about an hour working on getting all of those colors reconstituted, and now they're doing good. So I've got this tray. I'm going to turn this tripod around if I can get this to work right, and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. Hang on. Okay, now I'm hoping once I sit down I'm not in front of this. This doesn't have an arm that will reach across. So I'm going to have to do it and hopefully not have my head or arms in the way. Bear with me. Okay, this is how it works. It's got these little 2 notches here that I can put my palette on. There's 2 little holes. Whoops, 2 little holes on this that will fit into the space on here just fine. So what I do, I'm going to set it down and just put it on here. Whoops. No, I'm not. Put it on. How do I put it on? I forget. Oh, on this side. I'm sorry. It goes on here with the notches that stick out. There's 2 that stick out here if you can see them. And then I'm going to lower this down. There, that might be better. And then I put it on here like this. And that's it. It's on there really well. And then the water cup goes on the end. Being a lefty, I wish it was turned around, but I can turn my colors around and it'll be fine. Then for this, you stick this up here like this, and then these 2 little notches just hold on underneath the palette and hold it together. So you just go like this and clicks on. And there, you're all set. And then fill it with water. And you're all set to go. So there you have it. Now, do I want twin cups? I could use twin cups in here, but that would mean buying a whole nother Himi Gouache palette. And this is what I have a problem with, you guys, is that when you're buying colors, or if you're running out of colors, then as you run out of colors, you can't just replace those colors. And these are the colors I use most. Now, I have bought a white pouch that I squirt more in with, and I forget the name of the company. Incentive or Inventive, something. Anyway, you can buy them online for like $9, $10, and you can fill these little things over and over and over. And you can get black and white and Prussian blue, I think primary yellow, red, there's different colors. So that's really all I need. And I mix all of my colors. I've been mixing all of my colors with this. Now I'll show you the paintings that I've done with just these 6 colors. Hang on one second. Let me get them here. I have 2 books going. This book is one that's from St. Louis Art Supply, and it's nice, except these paper covers are a pain in the butt, but they are nice books. The paper is very good. So these I did not do. These, no. Did I? No, these were done with regular paint. This is where it started. I did this one with just these 6 colors. I think I used 3 colors in this, maybe. No, I mixed some browns. So I used the red and the green to make brown, which is fine. Or you could use red, yellow, and blue and make brown. But red and green are complementary colors. So if you're thinking, oh, I need a burnt sienna or a brown or something, you really don't, because you can take your red and your green and mix your own brown. You can make it lighter with white, darker with black, whatever. Then I did this one. This one I'm not real happy with, this painting, but I wanted to paint so bad and it was getting late, so I just did something really quick. I don't think I even posted that online. Then, oh no, this one was the really bad one that I was playing around with. I saw a picture of something. It was a photograph, and it had these little plastic trees and stuff, but I ended up painting this, and it was the bad one that I was thinking about. Then, the other day, I painted this one, and this one I'm very proud of. I really like the way this one turned out, and all I did was use these 6 colors of Himi gouache, and that was it. And I'm very happy with it. So it can be done. And I think that if you are a beginner, then using something with 6 colors like this is very good. Red, yellow, and blue are primary colors, but they're really cyan blue, which is a little bit lighter. The red is more of a cooler red, closer to primary red, but a little bit on the cooler side, just leaning slightly. And then your yellow would be a primary yellow. But then having a viridian green is nice to have, or phthalo green, but they don't make phthalo green, I don't think, for Himi gouache palettes. Maybe they do now. Mine is very old. It doesn't even have the Himi name on it. It just says Maya on it somewhere. I think on the back. No. Yeah. No, this isn't even that. This is Lamucht something or other. So, the green that I have, they're calling it jade green. It really is a blue-green like a viridian. But I like this palette, and this is going to be great for plein air painting because it stays so moist, being a jelly gouache. Now, jelly gouache, I have not been super fond of, and I don't promote. And there's a reason for that. If you're new to gouache, painting with Himi gouache needs to be painted a little bit differently. You have more transparency in your color because of the jelly. Good gouache, like Holbein, which is my favorite, or M. Graham, or Daniel Smith, or Winsor & Newton. I don't care for Winsor & Newton. It gets really dry. And I was showing you my palette, and I'll show you my one Winsor & Newton color in here is the one that cracks. And that's it. It's the only one that I have a problem with. Even when it's totally moist, there's a hair on here. When it's totally moist, that one still cracks out of my palette. And it's the first one to dry. Using professional gouache, and there is cheaper professional gouache that you can buy. You can get a whole set of something like 12 colors, or is it 24? I forget, it might be 18. Somewhere between 12 and 24 colors. Shinhan Professional Gouache is a good gouache, and it is like $65 for the full set. For a set of Holbein colors, you're going to pay almost $200 for the same amount of gouache. So I would get the Shinhan. In fact, I'm going to try and buy some, and I will do a comparison for you. But like I said, this gouache is okay, but I don't recommend learning on it because you work a little differently with it. With good professional gouache, you're using a fraction of the amount of paint that you need with this gouache. Dollar for dollar, you're probably close to the same amount of spending for each paint. You may make an initial buy paying a little bit more money, but your paint is going to last you years in comparison to this Himi gouache. And learning it, it's better to learn on a professional gouache, just like they say with watercolor. Working with the best paper you can afford and the best paints that you can afford and the best brushes that you can afford actually helps you to learn quicker. You're not fighting all of those other things that are going on. And it's the same with Himi gouache. So I do recommend professional. But for going out in the field, I'm going to try this summer. I'm obviously not going to try it today. And see, it's kind of cold and nasty outside. Oops, I moved my thing so my lens got covered. I'm sorry about that. It's very cold here. So this is all I wanted to show you. I'm going to do a painting next with this, and I will show you how nice it is to work with this whole set. I was working on my lap. I thought I was going to have to hold the whole thing, but it stands up just fine on its own. And then when you pack it up, you just, well, take your water off carefully so you don't spill it. Take your palette off or your mixing tray off. Put your lid on. I try to put it on the same way so my paint matches my paint and I'm not mixing stuff up. Snap it down. Snap it shut. And then this goes on upside down over this. I can't tell you how I was trying to force this on like this and it wouldn't go. And then I got it stuck. But if you just flip it over, it's right side up here, upside down here. Put this underneath, just like this, and stick it back in your pouch. And that is all there is to it. In fact, I even have one of my, my little... what are these? Gray Matters flat brushes in there that I left in there. So, yeah, that's all you do. You put it all in like this. I put my brush back in like that. And my brush is in there. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. It's in there. And then just zip this shut. Just like that. Except I got it tucked in wrong. Hang on a minute. Showing you how easy it is, and I got my zipper folded back here, so that would help if I pull it up. There, now it should close just fine. Let me get the zipper, and it closes just fine, and then you've got your little handle to carry and your book, and you're all set to go. A little watering thing like this, one of these collapsible watering things is great to have. And you could take something like this little thing here, put your book in there, and I've got a ton of stuff in here. I've got watercolors and gouache that I'm keeping in there, all of it. So, yeah, that's all you need. Just take this along. I would recommend getting this. It is on Amazon. If you're a Himi gouache user and like to paint outside or want to start doing some plein air painting, these are so nice because they're not going to dry up on you. But I still like my Art Toolkit palette too. So that's it. In the meantime, be courageous, paint with wild abandon, and most of all, be kind to each other. I will be back soon. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to be doing a video. And then in that video, I will use this palette and we'll do a little gouache painting. I'm sorry I don't have another Tuesday tutorial for you. Hopefully next week I can get it out. I still have more doctor's appointments to go to. I have 2 next week on Tuesday, so hopefully Sunday I can get one out for you, or schedule it to come out on Tuesday. And I'm going to try to do one beforehand. I'm real anxious to get out to my studio. And it is up to 16 today, so I could probably try it, but it's going to be a little chilly. So that's it, you guys. Everybody take care. God bless you. I will see you soon.